what I try and do nutritionally with my athletes is create a more of a relationship with food as or nutrition as just fueling the machine. And
so more of a healthy relationship because you see so many. Is that because you see so many people rebound badly after shows?
Well, potentially that like they understand that the food is just fueling the machine, and to try and detract any emotional connection to food, because if an athlete doesn't have emotional connection to food, they are an athlete that follows the nutrition really well, and they don't have these craving or urges to binge or eat things that are super sweet, and that's where the artificials may, for some, not for everyone, this taste palate reward hypothesis you might hear thrown around. I think that's what you refer to it as, but it's basically you taste something sweet, you want something sweet, so that can induce potentially other
more problems throughout the prep.
Potentially more problems seeking other things to satisfy that sweetness. Whereas if you take everything out, make it relatively bland, obviously good food, whole food choices, but actively set it up so it is quite bland, and encourage not to be emotionally connected to food. Like initially it's quite difficult, but then over time, the prep is far easier. It's just not about, they're not living week to week, meal to meal. I mean, it's binge eating disorder. I mean, that's essentially what you're doing. You got an eating disorder because you're living from one cheat meal to the next, and that's a horrible existence. And it does tend to continue after prep. I mean, absolutely, you and I are both in the industry and know what it can be like post prep. So.
Can be for those quite reasons, catastrophic, can't it?
Absolutely.
And I guess with you, do you find those little things in terms of clients asking for, okay, whatever, can I have this artificial sweetener instead of stevia? Maybe can I have some diet jelly or blah, blah, blah? Is that for you a red flag? Like, is that a warning? To sort of, let's just watch how this kind of develops. Like
potentially. I mean, I use the phrase whenever I talk to my guys: success leaves clues. And the ones that tend to follow my recommendations, and that's what it is. I'm not a nutritionist, so these are recommendations for you to follow. They can choose to follow it or not, and the ones that tend to follow it closest tend not to have issues with binging and eating off plan and doing all that type of stuff. So. The actual what was the actual question?
Just in terms of
red flags.
Not red flags and opening the floodgates, like saying yes, you can have artificial sweetener, and then just being aware as a coach that it starts to snowball a little bit, or are there things that make you kind of take note?
This one's going to be a problem. So I mean, like potentially, but not necessarily. Like it might lead on to other things, but it's more. They know what they like. Before someone works with me, I'll sort of outline what's involved. So, it usually can be like you're suggesting can I have some diet drinks? And it's like, well, you can if you want. It's up to you. It's not on the plan. If you choose to do it, it's on you. You're working with me because of the Dubois method. The Dubois method doesn't have artificial drinks and sweeteners, so it's up to you. So I do put it back on them, and some may take that up on occasion, but like if anyone does end up sort of deviating and binging and stuff like that, it's usually, if I do look back, that there is this I had a few diet, like when they submit their report at the end of the week, I had a few diet drinks off plan and this and that. So I think that if it does occur, there's usually a few things that did point to that. But in regards to red flags, not necessarily. Like, I always give everyone the benefit of the doubt and just let them, like, I don't assume things. I don't take athletes on based on, I had a bad feeling about that one. It's like, well, this is what's involved. And they go, yep, I can do that. It's like, all right, cool, let's start you up. And we go from there. Some don't last, but usually it's within a couple of weeks they sort of realize what's involved and pull the pin. But others, it resonates well and they slide into the system and they really
do well.
They do well, and they get a lot more out of the process. So, I'm trying to create something that's easier for them to follow as well. Like at face value, it might be hard.
So they don't have to think about it. They just
they just do
read it and do it.
Exactly. In a world that they're not thinking about food and the next sort of off plan meal is an easier world in prep, I think.
Yeah.
So that's the rationale and the thought behind doing that.
Would you call yourself a strict coach?
it's interesting. I mean, it depends how you define a strict coach. Like a lot of what I do is based, like you said, 25, it's closer to 28, 29 years training anyway, not industry experience, sure. But like this, like the way I set up and structure things is just how I've done it myself. It's like, this is primarily, like, it's a very close reflection of what I actually did to prepare myself for shows. And so it's sort of like, this is just, is it strict? Well, yeah, I suppose, compared to others, but this is just like, you should be volunteering to do all these things. I think, like, you should,
because you're the one wanting to get on stage.
Yeah, you're the one wanting. You should be, well, okay, yeah. What more can I do? Like, should I be doing this, or should I do more cardio now, or should I avoid this food, or do you want me to eat less now? It's like, no, there's a system in place. Just follow the plans. Ask any questions. Like, I encourage questions all the time, because I want full transparency. I want them to be honest with me, and I tell them what's happening. I tell them what's happening every week. I tell them what's happening every month. They can ask questions at any time. So I prefer us all to be on the same page. But so strict, compared to others, but I just think it should be. I'm pretty sure, if, again, to reference just because Justin Wessels is someone that we both know, I'm pretty sure, like, if people looked what he did, they go, oh man, that's so strict, there's no way I could do that. It's like, he would just say, well, this is just what you do in prep. Like,
that's right.
It's not strict, it's just, this is prep.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, like, people seem to want to have a life, and I mean, that sounds really bad. Like, obviously
I know what you mean,
life, but they still want everything else that they have now.
Right.
But I want to do a prep as well. It's some things have to be sacrificed, like,
absolutely.
It's not that you can't be social, but when you are social, you're put in an environment where there's lots of temptation and lots of people saying, oh, that won't matter, sure, one drink won't matter, or whatever. So sometimes it's better just, or
you order a salad and it comes out with a little bit of dressing, and you think, oh, well, I'm out, I may as well just eat it, instead of being a pain and telling them to take it back. It just makes things more difficult, more complicated.
Potentially, some can do it just fine, and but others, sometimes it's best just to avoid those situations. So, is it strict and you've got to change your lifestyle? Yeah, but you're the one that wants to be the best you can be on the competition stage, and it's going to require a few. For others, more sacrifice. For some, it's not as much sacrifice.
That's
but
right.
But I think everyone sacrifices a fair bit to get ready for stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you think makes a good client? Like, what sort of things do you look for that you think this person, like, regardless of their genetic potential, this person is going to be a very competitive competitor because they've got the right mindset, or like, what sort of things that really stand out for you as being a good trait or a good quality in competitors?
Yeah, really good question. Like, I don't know whether I could put my finger on, well, this is the trait that they need to have. I think attention to detail, I think that really, really goes a long way, where, you adjust something, or you put a note somewhere and they actually question it. It's like, oh, so this means that. It's like, oh, wow, you actually read the whole email. Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
So that
that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, that could suggest that they're going to be, the attention to detail, I think, is a big part of it. And, so if they're showing that they're sort of being more involved in the process, that's a good sign that they're probably going to apply themselves really well to the physique preparation process. So,
have you had more success, would you say, from other personal trainers, like personal trainers that seek out your services, or general pop that want to do an extreme sport? Like, which ones have you sort of found have been more compliant overall? Yeah,
I think it can go either way. Like, PTs can have preconceived sort of notions and strategies and beliefs of how things should be done. And but whereas Gen Pop comes in that have no sort of preconceived notions or any idea of what to do, they can be really good. They can just immerse themselves and follow the plans really diligently. So both can be, it all comes back to that they just really, apply themselves well to the plans. But PTs and coaches, as far as I'm concerned, they should know better. Like, they should be the super clients. They should be the one immersing them. They know the process. You have a coach, because it's the coach's responsibility to get you ready for stage. by all means, I encourage all the athletes I work with to ask, like I said earlier, any questions they want, so they understand that if someone understands something, they tend to apply themselves better and follow something better.
Yeah.
So I do encourage questions and about everything I do. Everything I do has rationale and thought behind it. I don't do anything on a whim. Do this because hopefully it'll work, and no, it's because do this because this and this should happen. You know. So I think it's more like that. If they're that person, it's going to be a good application to the process. But I wouldn't necessarily say PTs are better or worse. It's just individual specific, I think. But you can get great ones, as you know, in both. Like some PTs are just really in the zone and they apply themselves well, and then some gym they come out of nowhere and it's like, oh my God, where does this guy or girl come from?
That's
like
right.
They're just crazy. And same can be said for genetics too. Like yourself, you can't judge a book by its cover, and that's the thing about genetics. There are clues, definitely. You can look at sort of like wrist girth measurements and things like that to see the anabolic potential of an individual. Like for guys, big jawline, they're going to be they're going to be able to grow muscle, but you can start training someone, they morph into this amazing physiques.